lovers throughout the world are wondering, what comes after Ron Paul? Of course, he might not be elected president in 2012, but as president, I think we know that Ron Paul won't be able to stamp out statism entirely, and many of us worry about what might happen if the dollar collapses and the economy really tanks while he's in the White House. Some libertarians are even hoping he doesn't get elected so that libertarianism isn't left holding the bag. But I'm much more worried about what happens after Ron Paul if he loses. My prediction is that after doing well in, if not winning, Iowa and New Hampshire, the party establishment will get their foot soldiers lined up behind Romney, if only to ensure Paul's defeat. We can hope that they won't be able to get their act together in time, but these are political manipulators, not bureaucrats, and my optimism doesn't keep me from realism. You know why a guy like Rick Santorum is still in the race? If he can hang on to just 5% of the vote, that's worth at least a decent cabinet position in the Romney administration in exchange for an endorsement. That's just how it happens. But here's the exciting possibility. What if the GOP establishment can't get their act together? What if we see a Gingrich-Perry-Romney slugfest all spring and Ron gets to keep building up his base, winning converts to the message in time to keep posting victories in early primary states after Iowa and New Hampshire? I think Ron Paul has a legitimate chance to win this time around. It's still not the most likely outcome, but a real possibility. And this is the real race for the base of the Republican Party. Can we convert GOP primary voters to believe in freedom and the Constitution before the various flavors of statists who have hijacked the Republican Party congeal into another toxic brew of neoconservative pro-war nationalist crap, a la John McCain, thus ensuring another 4 more years under the great imperial leader Barack Hussein Obama? In a recent interview, I was asked, what if Ron Paul loses? By an 11-year-old girl from Oklahoma who had so much hope for Ron Paul and his message of liberty. Her sister asked, is Ron Paul our only hope? And I told him that Ron Paul was not our only hope, and that if he loses, the message of liberty lives on and the work continues, and I firmly believe that the human evolution to a free society is inevitable. And I don't mean to take any of that back, but I've been thinking about it, and there's something I need to add to that answer. Although Ron Paul is not running for re-election to Congress, there's his son, Senator from Kentucky, Rand Paul, the freshman congressman from Michigan, Justin Amash, former governor of New Mexico, Gary Johnson, plenty of successors lined up to eagerly fill his shoes, and should Ron Paul not win, there will be no shortage of libertarian candidates, and I'm sure that they'll be fighting over who should pick up the banner in 2016. But to be perfectly honest, there's not a single one I'm looking forward to as a replacement for Dr. Paul because, well, his shoes are just too big to fill. There will never be another Ron Paul in human history. There will never be a better man at a better time with a better opportunity to advance humanity. And it's not because we're there in terms of getting it. Most Americans are still asleep. Most people on this planet have no idea how the various ideologies of statism are holding us all back. This opportunity exists because Ron Paul might as well be God's gift to human liberty. A doctor, a veteran, a family man, a 12-term congressman with a consistent voting record, all with a pretty little bow on top of having delivered over 4,000 babies. Not only that, but he has so dedicated his life to the cause of freedom that finally, in 2012, at age 76, while still in good health, and having already subjected himself to the ridicule he faced running for president in 2008, he is now in a position to win the GOP nomination, beat Obama, and not just end so much human suffering by taking the reins of the monstrosity known as the federal government of the United States of America, but to seize the biggest platform in the world from which to proclaim the message of liberty and human dignity and the universal rights of every man, woman, and child and bring about the real revolution, which is the revolution of the mind, the love-evolution, that paradigm shift I keep telling you is happening. So maybe this isn't it for humanity. Maybe we'll get another chance after Ron Paul. But I, for one, will not stand idly by and let this opportunity pass while consumed by the nonsense of everyday life, knowing that what is hanging in the balance is the chance to create a better world for future generations now. Hanging in the balance is at least 4 more years of unnecessary wars be they led by Obama or by Romney or whomever. Hanging in the balance is the continued pride of the unemployed in America whose lives will not be improved as long as the Federal Reserve is sucking the life out of this economy. Hanging in the balance is an opportunity to realize real freedom within our lifetimes. But an opportunity like Ron Paul might not come around for another generation or two. Who knows how long this era of statism that I know in my heart humanity will look back on with shame will last if Ron Paul is not elected in 2012. As a combat veteran myself who has seen just a slice of the brutality humanity is capable of, there is a particular imperative for me. War is humanity's greatest failure. And I would hope that mine might be the last generation of combat veterans the world will ever know. That depends on Ron Paul. And that depends on you. Now is the time to get involved. Now is the time to dig deep and donate what you can. Now is the time to get your butt to Iowa or New Hampshire or sign up to start flooding the phone lines in battleground states. Now is the time to wave signs and make videos and ridicule the other candidates, to expose them as the hopeless champions of the status quo that they really are. Now is the time to think about the world you want your children to grow up in. Now is the time to make peace. Now is the time for liberty. Now is the time for Ron Paul.